Welcome back to Black Swan Outdoors. Today we are going to talk about kind of an everyday carry kit, kind of some ideas to think about as you're thinking about putting together a satchel, everyday carry kit, whatever you want to call it. So the fundamental kind of rationale behind, or the foundation behind this carry kit is the 10 essentials. And if you're not familiar with the 10 essentials, this is something that was developed in about the late 70s by the Mountaineers, which is a mountaineering club in the Pacific Northwest, I believe Seattle. And they said if you have these 10 items, that is a good foundation for any pack going out into the wilderness. Now, today we're going to talk about being prepared in more of an urban area. A little over 50% of the world's population is in an urban area. And in about 20 years or so, we are going to have about 70% of our world's population in an urban area. So certainly most people watching this video are going to be in and around an urban area. And by urban area, I mean either a city center, downtown district area, to the suburbs, to larger towns, exurbs, and so on. So anywhere where there's larger concentrations of people. And so one of the things that I like in an urban setting from my many years of commuting, both living downtown in a major metropolitan area and also commuting into a downtown area from living in the suburbs, is a computer style bag, satchel, laptop bag, whatever you want to call it, messenger bag even, is what I had today. Representing that, I'm using this bag from Kanai. Otherwise, it can go with anything. This is not, supposed to be tactical looking or anything like that. So basically, it's supposed to be to kind of blend into your surroundings with the other people. You're not going to have a pack with Molly. You'll probably stand out a little bit more in an urban area. So the bag's not really what this video is about. It's more of what I've got in the bag. So if you're not familiar with the 10 essentials, we're going to go through those basics. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to translate those 10 essentials into an urban environment, talking about the gear that I have and the features of that gear, why I've chosen it for an urban environment. So just because we are in an urban area or a suburban area doesn't mean we're any less exposed to the outdoors and the different things that may occur. So, for example, having water or being exposed to sun, maybe even needing to start a fire, or a first aid situation, needing a pocket knife to open up a packaging, whatever it is. There are a lot of the same foundations, I believe, that you have on the trail with you hiking, you can apply then to an urban environment and have that with you. So without more of an introduction, let's jump right into it. So out of the 10 essentials, probably one of the most important primary essential, at least for me at the top of the list, is layers. And that's going to be represented by this, just a single shell Gore-Tex jacket. It could be a windbreaker, it could be anything. But why you'd want to have a rain jacket, for obvious reasons. You can certainly substitute that for an umbrella, no problem. Although I find that if you want better coverage, better kind of protection from the elements, wind, insects, things like that, then the rain gear really works well. Having this packed has helped me in a rain storm that was unexpected once. It happened to be once when the clothing that I was wearing, I noticed that I was printing with my concealed carry weapon and wanted an additional piece of layer just to help kind of conceal the weapon a little bit better. And thankfully I had a jacket with me that I was able to do that. So lots of different functions for that other than just keeping you dry. So with layers, I'm going to also include a pair of socks. This is probably one of the most underrated pieces of gear that you can carry on and off the trail with you. So many times where you've walked into puddles, you've been out for a while, and it's just so nice and feels so good just to swap your socks. It's something you learn when you do a lot of hiking Just you take a break, get a refresher, change your socks. And so I think that to me is just great in the cold environment. When it gets really cold, if you have an extra pair of socks, they can make good for makeshift mittens if need be. And shell, if you have a shell on and it keeps you warm, keeps you from convective heat loss. For any other, if you want to learn more about the 10 essentials and layering in particular, we have some videos on, a couple long videos on, specifically on 3-season layering and 4-season layering. And then we also have a podcast on the 10 essentials for the wilderness context. And I believe we have some other videos too with the 10 essentials. We're very similar on this. So here we have, that's layers. I also include with layers, and this kind of goes into sun as well, which is another category, and that's just a shemagh, and I really like them. One thing to note about a shemagh, in particularly in urban areas, is especially if you're like world traveling, is that the different colorations of these oftentimes can mean different tribes or different cultural connections. So you want to make sure that when you do, if you do buy one, a shemagh or cafe, whatever you want, that you want to make sure it's kind of a neutral, it's non-specific to a particular culture, unless that's what you want to do. The reason why I carry these is that it works so well. Of thousands of years of the of people carrying these, I think it really kind of speaks to their utility. That works well as a cravat. It works well, you know, for covering yourself from the sun, from a sandstorm, if that's a thing around you. And just all around, just a great thing. And also, even though it is cotton, as a makeshift, as a scarf in the winter too, if need be. So warmth is obviously important. Kind of with that is kind of the handkerchief. I'll kind of include that in kind of bridging into the next section, which is sun. And so with sun, I have the handkerchief, just because you can tie that around your neck or put that around under your hat to block yourself. But certainly sunglasses, very important to protect your eyes. We're going to get into another video, which I call the 5 urban essentials, which will be an addition to this video. And we'll talk a little bit more about the utility of eye protection there as well. So there's some good posts we have on Instagram about why police officers, and for example, law enforcement officers, wear sunglasses, mirrored sunglasses. But anyway, so sun is really important. Oftentimes with me, I don't have this in the pack today, but often that I have with me is a hat of some kind also for sun. So that kind of covers that. You know, you could also throw in suntan lotion and lip balm, as I do for my hiking bag. But you know, I think sunglasses and a hat and bandana is quite enough, especially if you got the other layers. So next up then is tools for repair or any kind of things that you might need on as you're going about your day. And so from a tools category, I have a small hank of paracord. You never really need long paracord. I've never come across it on the trail or off the trail. I understand the reasoning why people carry lots and lots of paracord. I've never needed it. So a small hank I think is good enough. But you know, if you want something longer, certainly go for it. And then with repair, there's probably no better tool than the Leatherman tool on and off trail. I like Leatherman tools. It's a little bit heavy for hiking, but for an urban context, very, very useful. So I have that. And then kind of with repair in that category is duct tape. And certainly that can fall into first aid, that can fall into, you know, you could use it for many different uses. And I just have it just around a lighter here. When I'm hiking, I carry duct tape around a water bottle. But the lighter represents another category, which is fire. So moving on, we also have food. And so for me, since we're in an urban area and there's food all around, with fast food and grocery stores and all that kind of stuff. I think just having a little Clif Bar is super handy to have. I find that when I work downtown, that I'd often just give those away to homeless people, more than I'd ever use it myself, to be completely honest. But if you have a long night in the office and you're taking the train back home, and you're hungry, it's nice to be able to kind of dip into your bag and get something to eat too. And then of course, water. Now for on the trail, I like to have a minimum of 1 quart water bottles. This bottle is not quite 1 quart. I'm not sure what the size of it is, but for me, it's a perfect size for travel. So that's international travel, regional travel. It sits in the cup holder in my car. It sits well in the bag. Again, you can always get access through a bathroom or a drinking fountain to refill your water bottle. So I don't think there's the necessity is there to have a large capacity of water. Just to have something to drink, I think, is important. Certainly, if you wanted to substitute this just for a 99-cent bottle, plastic bottle of water, that's awesome too. This is just reusable for me, which I like. So, okay, so we have water, food, repair, sun, clothing. One other area is shelter. And now you're probably thinking, well, man, why would you want shelter in an urban area? There's plenty of places to take shelter. Well, the reason why I have shelter here is because I believe that a space blanket or a Mylar blanket goes really well with the next one, which is first aid. And so I've opted to focus first aid on more of a trauma kit than kind of regular first aids. I used to carry a small little first aid kit with like just some simple medications and band-aids and that kind of stuff, and I've found that I've really never really used it, and I'd rather put my emphasis on a first aid kit that I believe everyone should carry if they're carrying a weapon, either in their car or on their person or on their bag that they might be carrying with them, having it close by. If you have a weapon, you should have at least a tourniquet, if not other supplies. And so this kit really focuses in on trauma. So I have a small Israeli bandage in here. I've got chest seal, gloves, needle, chest seal. I'm sorry, this was the clotting sponge, chest seal, and then a tourniquet. And then there's some other pieces of gear in here that I've talked about in other videos. So very, very simple. Anything else beyond that, I can use the duct tape, I can use the bandana, I can use the shemagh for first aid as well. So that's first aid. Next up then, what we have is light, and I really like these rechargeable USB lights. This one's from Streamlight, very small, compact, and very, very bright. So let me see if I think that is about it. That's so that's layers, water, food, first aid, light, sun, shelter, repair. What am I missing? Oh, and then I have a compass. Lots of uses actually in an urban environment for compass. We have a video on urban navigation that you can check out. So with compass, I also have a map of the area and maps rather. And I think that's about it. Just double check it side here. That's about it. So these are the 10 essentials, and this is what I carry for the 10 essentials in an urban context. Stay tuned for the next video. We're going to talk about the Urban 5. These are specific items that you would only need in an urban context.